This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to
The Cleveland Cavaliers, it turns out they can still win basketball games. We thought that they had lost their mojo. I'm going to be honest with you. They didn't have any mojo for the entire first half, really. They shot horribly. I think it was, 3 for 16 or something awful. This team could not hit a three. Might actually think it was worse than that. Hold on. I have it in the takeaways here. They were 3 of 25 from the three-point line to start this game. They end up still with the worst three-point shooting night of the season, but they did almost quadruple that number in the second half. They hit 11 threes overall, so 8 in the second half. You know what? It was a little bit of a tale of two halves. They definitely whooped the Jazz in the second half. I said, thank God for the Utah Jazz, because any other opponent probably manages to take advantage of how bad we were to start. But Jackson, what are your overall takeaways? The Cavs finally get back in the win column.
I mean, this is just a game the Cavs needed to have. You can't lose. I mean, you can lose 5 straight games, but it would be tough to swallow losing to a Jazz team that was without Lauri Markkanen, a bad Jazz team that is playing without Lauri Markkanen. So they did what they needed to do. The first half was ugly, but they really, they did what they've really done all year. These little Cavaliers, these little runs that they go on can really just, take a game from like a 6-7 point game to like a 25-point game. And that's what happened here. And that's what the Cavs have done a great job of all year. And it's good to see them kind of like return to that formula, even though, the first 24 minutes were not the Cavs' best basketball. 23 points in the second quarter. The shots weren't falling, but they were able to, stay in it and then really pull it out at the end not at the end, but in the third quarter when they did start to get things going.
Yeah, and what's crazy about that is, like I said, they shot 3 of 25 from 3. They played really well. I want to talk about their process in a second, because I actually thought the process was mostly okay, but they shot so horribly, and they were up by 6 at halftime. They were winning this game by 6 with how badly they were shooting, because the Utah Jazz were also shooting pretty bad. Both teams managed to find a little bit of a rhythm in the second half. The thing is, the Cavs, they went full Cavalanche in the second half. Maybe a mini Cavalanche, but really you saw the defense came alive, and that started energizing the offense. And there was this synergy between the offense and the defense that it feels like we haven't seen in so long. They were playing with enthusiasm. I heard you mentioning on the playback stream, Darius Garland, he's skipping around, he's hopping, he's doing the DG hop. He's, like when Darius Garland skips, the Cavs have never lost a game. When Donovan Mitchell is taking smart shots and not pressing the issue, he didn't even really have it going today. 0 of 5 from the 3-point line, but he shot 5 of 8 from inside the 2-point line. I thought his process was much better today, even though he only had 16 points and 4 assists. This was a much more methodical approach for Mitchell.
I think that Donovan has been getting way too much hate.
I agree.
And I wrote about his game against the last team they played, not the Kings, the Suns. His game against the Suns, and I thought that most of his shots were actually pretty good shots. He missed the rim on 4 layup attempts, which is just like, what are we doing? So like, I thought that the shots he was taking were good, just he wasn't making any of them. Today, I thought that he was the only one who really had energy in the first half.
He had 13 in the first half. 13 out of 16.
Yeah, and 5 of 10 shooting. Most of that most of those misses came from beyond the arc. So I don't think the Cavs are winning at halftime if they don't have his energy. I thought he would play with a lot of energy out there. One of the things that has made Donovan such a good fit with this core is that I think that Jarrett, Darius, and Evan are all, I don't want to say they're low energy guys, but they're not high energy guys. I wouldn't classify them as like super high motor guys. And I feel like Donovan can be a high motor guy. And I think we saw that in the first half, and his scoring just carried them to the point where they could get a Cavalier. And Donovan didn't score a bunch during that third quarter run, but they're not in the position for that run if it's not for him.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, his process in that first half, the scoring, only 13 points in the first half, but again, they only had 23 points in the second quarter altogether. So no one was really scoring. He was giving them just enough to give them a little bit of a cushion, keep them in a position where in the second half, once guys started going, now it's a Cavalier. Now we're rolling. Whereas if you enter the halftime and you're down by 10, like they have a couple times recently, the vibes are just a lot different. Donovan Mitchell, I thought, did a really good job of that. His leadership, taking the accountability, saying I need to be better, and then coming out. And like I said, this is one of the better process games he's had in a little while. I do think he's been overhated. I think there's been a little too much of criticizing him for hero ball. He has played a lot of hero ball recently, and the shot selection hasn't always been great. But that's also what he's here to do. Like I trust Donovan Mitchell to shoot himself out of a slump. With that said, today he didn't take that approach. Today he basically just picked his spots pretty well. Didn't hit any 3-pointers, which is unfortunate, but they were all pretty good looks. The baseball passes one-handed. I thought he did a good job of getting the Utah Jazz defense into rotation, kicking it out, and then you see the Cavs ball movement, find the best shot. Again, they didn't shoot the ball all that well. But one thing that they did do was adjust and start attacking the rim. Jarrett Allen finally had a very good game, 18 points on 8 of 11 shooting. He took a 3-pointer, got a little crazy with it in the third or fourth quarter. Yeah, I heard you on the stream. You're like, I don't know if we're up by enough points to do that, but he let it fly anyways. 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Jarrett Allen, very aggressive tonight. After I wouldn't say he got beat up by some Western Conference big men, but he definitely wasn't winning his matchups in previous games. Tonight, he won his matchup. It was close. It depends on which game you're talking about.
Yeah.
But in this one, Jarrett Allen comes out. He's aggressive. They didn't have an answer for him in the paint. Same thing with Evan Mobley. He only, Evan Mobley, 4 of 10 from the field, but he went 0 of 4 from the 3-point line. So really he shot 4 of 6 inside the paint. There was a play that Austin Carr pointed out. Shout out to Austin Carr on the broadcast for this West Coast road trip. It's been nice to see. He pointed out Evan Mobley, I forget who, I think it was Filipowski guarding him. He just dribbles under the baseline, keeps his dribble alive. He's just hunting for a shot. Like, okay, I didn't have the first look. I'm going to keep my dribble alive. And then finally gets some daylight, takes the shot and makes it. And that's something that Evan Mobley would not be that aggressive and that persistent at trying to find his own shot in years past. But this year he was like, no, this is my matchup. I'm going to get a bucket on this guy. Even if it doesn't immediately materialize, I'm going to keep working until I get a good look. He did that a couple times today. And him and Allen, just the difference makers. We talk about Mitchell keeping them afloat. Mobley and Allen giving you some easy points in the paint when you're struggling to hit anything from deep. That also gives you a bit of a cushion to work with.
Yeah, I don't want to glance over what Jarrett Allen did, especially in that third quarter. I thought he did, he had 11 points. And one of the things
he was the Cavaliers ways.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think sometimes is the most frustrating part with Jarrett is that even because he is getting less minutes with the DeAndre Hunter trade, he's probably the one who's sacrificed the most minutes because of that. One of the things that's frustrated me is that he hasn't been aggressive in his moments. Even if you're getting, say you're getting 7-8 shot attempts a game, be aggressive when you do get the ball. And he was aggressive when he got the ball today. And it's when he is aggressive, it's just a nice reminder of how good of a player he is. We had that stretch, keep going back to that stretch last year when Evan and DG were injured, but it's you saw that, Jarrett can be a top 10 center in this league, and he can be an all-star caliber player. And those skills haven't gone away. It's just that sometimes he just recedes into the background just a little too much. And then when he does get the ball, it's these little sky hooks and stuff like that aren't really the best part of his game. So today it was really good to see him hey, I have my moment. I have an opportunity. I'm going to be really aggressive in how I attack. So great stuff from Jarrett.
Yeah, very happy with the way Jarrett Allen played today. I know Mitchell's been struggling. Garland hasn't been shooting the ball well from 3, but Allen being in a bit of a slump on top of all that has not made things any easier. So him coming out, being a team high plus 31, tied with Garland there. Really big minutes from him. Again, just the easy scoring in the paint in a game where you were really struggling from 3 for most of it. That goes a long way to establishing a rhythm. And I do think in that third quarter, especially, the Cavs looked like themselves. This looked like the Cavs that we've been waiting to see. We're waiting to return. Again, the energy, both sides of the floor, they're moving the ball around. The defense is scrambling. I know it's against the Utah Jazz, but listen, I wrote this in the takeaways. A win against the Jazz is worth the same amount in the standings as a win against the Thunder. Does it mean as much? Hell no. We're not going to pretend it does. But when you've lost your last 4 games, you had to get a win somehow, and blowing them out feels a whole lot better than getting into another dogfight with a team like the Jazz. So I'm very happy with how the Cavs played. Another thing that stands out, just looking at the box score, DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome combined for 27 points. Hunter, 15 points. He's been shooting the ball well. He's been scoring pretty well since he came to Cleveland. 6 rebounds for Hunter. And I noticed it in this game. He actually was attacking the glass. Not, he's not Josh Hart. He's not an amazing rebounder, but it's been a weak point for him this season, really for his whole career. And so seeing him actually dive, he has 2 offensive rebounds in there, which are kind of off of his own misses. So those are a little fluky, but the 4 defensive rebounds, he's actually diving in, boxing out, getting physical, going after the ball. And that's what it comes down to. You have to pursue the ball. And that's the reason why he's not been a good rebounder throughout his career, is that he doesn't have that motor. He doesn't really pursue the ball that often. Might take him a little while to develop that habit, or maybe not even develop that habit, but just make it more of an emphasis for him since he's never done it before. The Cavs need him to do it. They're going to keep, pounding it into his head. Hopefully he'll start to pay more attention to that. At least today, he did. This was a much better rebounding game from him, and a game where they could have gotten smashed on the glass if he wasn't paying attention. Yeah,
there was one rebound where he came in from the perimeter and actually came down and moved people out of the way and just high pointed the ball. And it's you're 6'9", but you can do this. So I don't want to overreact to it, because 2 of those rebounds, one was an offensive rebound that he missed, Andre Drummond style, and got his offensive rebound, which is good, but
I think he got an N1 on that play.
Yeah, he did get an N1, cool. So which was,
we'll take
Andre
it.
Drummond style. But yeah, so that's one of the things where it was a good sign that you saw him actually put an emphasis on that. Can he do that for repeated games? Because I feel like when he first came over, his attention to detail on defense and his defensive effort was pretty high. And I felt that during the stretch here, and even at parts in the first half today, his attention to detail and defensive effort was not high. So can he keep up this rebounding emphasis over multiple games? That'd be good to see. But yeah, it was just almost more frustrating, because it's hey, you have you have the physical capability of being a good rebounder. We shouldn't be having games where it's you look at the box score and it's 15 points, 4 or 7 from 3. And and 1 rebound, and you're just what, how you that just can't happen. So good stuff from DeAndre.
Yeah, I thought this was a good game. I thought that he definitely attacked the glass the way that you want him to. Obviously, you got to keep it up. Other than that, any other takes? We're going to wrap up here soon. Keep this quick. I will say Sam Merrill hitting a couple threes throughout this game. He shot 2 of 9, so it wasn't good. But when he finally started hitting them, it feels so good when you see Sam Merrill catch a little bit of a rhythm, because he can heat up in a hurry. The 5 rebounds today, I think he had 7 the previous game. Sam has gotten a lot of hate, so I want to defend him a little bit, and I know you'll defend him too. Man is playing so hard on defense. He's racking up steals. He only had one today, but he had 4.
How does he only have 1 steal? He's knocked 8 of them. He knocked 8 of them away today. This is outrageous. The NBA is out to get Sam. You would think at a home game in Utah, going home, they would cook the books a little bit for him, but apparently not. So this is something that it could be a conspiracy going all the way up to Adam Silver. Going to have to look into that. May need to take some time away from just regular blogging so I can look into this further. So
some
stay
things
tuned
are bigger
on
than
that.
basketball.
Some things are bigger than basketball.
But no, I think he had been struggling for a while, and that's why a lot of people have been kind of scapegoating Sam Merrill. I don't think Sam Merrill at any point has been the reason they're losing. Yes, he's had bad games. He's had bad moments. The 3-point shooting is what he's getting paid to do, and he hasn't exactly brought that to the level that we'd assume. But 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He's kind of doing everything that you need him to do, except for the one thing that he's supposed to do.
I also do want to just say that the 8th man in the rotation is always going to be the heavily scrutinized one from a rotation standpoint, because the drop off usually between, especially on a team like the Cavs that is really deep, the drop off in skill level between your 8th, 9th, and 10th man is pretty minimal. So it's more so like preference based or like matchup based as to like who would be the better option. So it's a lot easier when Sam misses some shots to say like, hey, we should be turning to Okoro, we should be turning to Wade. So I do want to say that, and I do think that they could have used more Isaac Okoro in the previous 2 games. So I want to acknowledge that too. But just that's something to keep in mind, that like the 8th guy is somebody who you're always going to want to like move out of your rotation. It's like every team that has a bad quarterback, the backup quarterback's always the better option, because it's like, yeah, we know that like this guy sucks, but that guy who it sucks worse, maybe he sucks less. So just something to keep in mind. One thing I did want to say on a serious note, Darius didn't get a shot going today, but I liked that he took 13 shots, which was the team high. So that's something that one of my problems in these Donovan Mitchell games where he's really struggled is that like Darius Garland would have like a cool like 5 for 10. And it's like, bro, in a game, in a 48-minute game, this is not a 48-minute game. This is a 32-minute game. In like a full 48-minute game, when the Cavs need scoring, like Darius, please step up. And we've seen him step up. Like his clutch time scoring has been really good. It's because he's like, when he gets the ball, he's like, hey, I'm going to be aggressive in getting to my spots and making, plays happen. Donovan kind of had to take over because Darius was just sort of, and I know, is it a chicken or the egg situation when it comes to that, but him not asserting himself in those moments has been pretty frustrating for me. And I've been writing about that in like my grades recently. Is like Darius, he didn't play bad, but he also didn't step up. So you're gonna have to take something away from his grades. Today, I thought that he was assertive. Did he find a shot? No, we're still waiting for that. But this is I think this was a positive development.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Darius throughout the stretch has been good. He's been okay. Like he's just kind of chilling in the passenger seat doing his thing. That's fine most nights, but the problem is Donovan Mitchell has been drunk and asleep behind the wheel. And it's like at some point, Darius, you got to kick him out the driver's seat and take over for a minute because Donovan is not getting the job done. But tonight, Donovan played good. Darius, no one had the 3-point shot going. I will say real quick before we end, Ty Jerome, good to see him hit 3 out of 4 threes. He's also been struggling to shoot recently. He came in and pulled one from like 26, 27 feet. I feel like first shot attempt of the game. I was like, all right, we might be back. Ty Jerome came in and hit a 27-footer. That's what I like to see. So overall, like I said, listen, you beat the Utah Jazz. It's nothing that, there's no championship parade happening right now. But you needed to stop the bleeding. You needed to get a win. And it just feels a whole lot better when you can say, hey, we're going into Tuesday's game against the Blazers. We won our last game. We're not in the middle of a 4 or 5 game losing streak. So I'm feeling good again. I feel all right. Anyone who's freaking out, hitting the panic button, hopefully this calms you down just a bit. This next game against the Trailblazers could put us back in the water. It's going to be a difficult game. They've been playing really good basketball recently. One more game on the road, one more 10 o'clock game. We'll be streaming that on Playback 10 p.m. on Tuesday. So make sure you guys are here for that. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching this episode of the Junkyard Pod. I'll be streaming tomorrow's Monday's game. I think it's Lakers versus Pacers I'll be watching on Playback. So make sure you're following Fear the Sword on playback.tv. Make sure you're subscribed to the Junkyard Pod on YouTube. And until then, go Cavs.
Go to freethesword.com. Tony has the takeaways. We'll have some breakdowns after this game. So, yeah, and I agree. Go Cavs. Thanks for coming on, Tony.